Okay, we are joined today in the studio with Connor and Dustin from Local Laundry Apparel. How are you fellas doing today?
Good. Very well, thank you.
Good. So I want to know a little bit about your backgrounds and how you came up with this unreal concept of local laundry. So Connor, we can start with you.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say thanks for having us on the show. We're big fans of community and anything that you can do to start your own little thing and create it grow, and we love it. And that's kind of what inspired me to start my own thing, our own thing. I was living in Sweden. I was doing my MBA over there, and I was having the time of my life. I was traveling around, and I saw all these people with East Coast lifestyle shirts, and they had this thing that they could bring wherever they went that sort of rooted them back home, and they could talk about their values and characteristics that made the East Coast so great. And I studied out on the East Coast, and I experienced it, and it is a great place.
For sure.
And I was like, well, how come Calgary doesn't have something like this? I'm traveling around. I want to tell people about Calgary. It's got a lot of different characteristics and values. And I was like, why can't there be something cool like people would love to wear that would represent Calgary? So I Google searched like Calgary shirt or YYC shirt, and the only thing I could find was like those novelty shirts you got at the tourist shops. And I was like, no one wants to wear that. Like people hate getting those things as gifts. I was like, what if you could have something that could represent your city and your values, but also be very like pretty cool and fashionable to wear. So I was like, yeah, let's see if we can figure this out. And I thought, why stop at just the Calgary level? Why don't we go down to the hyper local level and do the actual communities? Because while Calgary has a lot of different characteristics and values, you go to look at each and every community in the city, and they have their own characteristics and values that make up the characteristics and values of Calgary. So I wanted to explore that, and I wanted to see if people would be interested in representing that. So I just I did what anyone should do when they want to start something. I literally Google searched how to make a t-shirt company, and I followed the step-by-steps to set it up. I was just like, let's see how far this rabbit hole can go. And I for like $50, cut 2 days worth of work, or figuring everything out. I didn't know anything about t-shirts or e-commerce or any of that, so I just dove headfirst in. Followed all the steps, and once the steps ran out, I just sort of figured the rest out. And I was like, yeah, I'll just test it out. And so I posted on Reddit, posted on Twitter. I was like, hey guys, I got this online t-shirt store. We're gonna sell Calgary shirts and Calgary community shirts. Like, what do you guys think? And everyone was like, this is literally the worst idea we've ever heard. And I mean, you go back, it's funny now to go back and read the Reddit post I made, but I was like so pumped that I was like, hear people talking about my idea and like talking about this, and like there are some people that are into it, some people like not so into it, some people think that it's kind of good but not so good. And my girlfriend, she was like, why are they being so mean to you? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, if people are having any type of reaction, that means like that there's something there.
So you weren't fazed by the negative comments at all on Reddit?
No.
Really?
No, man. It just motivates me more. And it's funny, as long as you don't take it personally. Yeah. I'm like, I am not a twat.
No, for sure.
But you just, and I almost have fun with them. I like to kill people on the internet with kindness, right?
Yeah.
And I always say, like, happy to be criticized, criticize away. And, there was some great, amongst, all the verbal abuse or whatever, they weren't that bad, but there was some great feedback. So I picked them up. I was like, okay, there's something here that people do want to represent the community. I just got to change a few things around. So it was born abroad over in Sweden, and then I brought it back here, and it was sort of like a little side gig. And, it's really cool when you have, like, your mom and dad's always going to buy a shirt. I had, my best friend bought a shirt. Yeah. But then when that first person that orders that shirt and you don't recognize the name and you check Facebook, like, yeah, I'm definitely not friends with them. Yeah, and you go back and you look,
yeah.
and you're like, you get this feeling inside you that is like the best feeling I've ever felt in my life. It's just like this satiated like drive that just, it was like it fueled a fire, and it was like, okay, one stranger's into this. All right, like let's do it for all the other people. Like let's do it for them, and let's see how far we can make this thing. So I never wanted the company to be about me. The idea is all about community.
Right.
So I was like, these are shirts that are going to be, these are clothes that are going to be for YYC, for the community. So I was like, well, let's just bring the community in. Let's make it how they want to make.
Exactly.
So and I did it, one step at a time. At first, I did all the designs, and I'm not a designer, clearly. And so I was like, why don't we get local designers? So that's what we started to do. We started getting local graphic designers designing their own community, because I don't know what it's like to live in Renfrew. I don't know what it's like to live in Kensington, because I don't live there.
Right.
So I was like, but they do, and they can add like, let's make each design. I don't want like a cookie cutter design for each different community and just stamp with different letters. I was like, let's make it sort of unique to each community.
So is the plan ultimately to make them completely different than, because I know a lot of them have the YYC, but are they going to kind of morph into something completely?
Yeah, they're all going to have their own characteristics, but still that like a consistent theme.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? I want them different, but or we want them to be different, but I don't want them to be so different that people can't connect the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I started, selling more shirts, more people were getting interested, more designers were getting into it. And then Dustin came along and he was like, hey, I kind of like this thing. Like, can I be a part of it? And
were you guys buddies before, or?
complete strangers. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, complete strangers.
How was the connection between you two?
This kind of plays into my story. So when I was in university, started a company. Always interested in entrepreneurship, and the company I started was just it was an apparel business, but it was a design business. So we were looking to kind of change the way that tournaments were producing their own goods, because me and my brother were squash players, and we'd go to all these tournaments.
Oh, no way! Yeah.
And at the end of every tournament, you'd get a Gildan T-shirt with the tournament logo and sponsors on the back, and it'd go right to your closet, and you'd never wear it again. And so we saw an opportunity to actually make some cool designs, to get some tournaments interested, and actually have something that people would want to wear after going in the tournament. And so that kind of got me a little bit into kind of the apparel business, and learn a little bit about the manufacturing side of things, how to decorate, how to order, all that kind of stuff. And so once we kind of finished that company, we brought it under a bigger company. And we just kind of both worked part-time for that. So it was actually a mutual friend of ours who recommended Connor talk to me, because Connor was looking to move some of his production local, and he knew that I was still doing some stuff for that company. So Connor reached out to me. We sat down for coffee, and he was kind of talking about the idea, and what he wanted. I kind of knew in the back of my head. I was like, there's no way that our company can do what you're looking for us. But give me a week. Let me talk to her and see what we can do. So I chatted with her, and it wasn't really going to work, but I told him, I was like, look, I love the concept you're doing. I'm totally bought in. I love what you're doing. I love the community aspect. I love the fact that you're trying to create a brand. So I'm completely on board. And we just started with hats. So we wanted to move. Connor wanted to make snapbacks. So we moved that production local, and I said, I'll take care of all the production, all the shipping, and let's work on this thing. And so
I guess your specialty would be kind of the supply chain or logistics point of view from the business aspect of it.
Yeah. Careful on the word specialty.
Okay.
I mean, still, we're still learning as we're going, but certainly had a little bit of knowledge on how to at least bring some product in and get it made. So.
Yeah, okay. So you were saying that you use local artists to design, or your plan is to ultimately use local artists based on each community. How does that selection process take place? And if, a local artist is listening, how could they kind of get their work out to you to see if they could potentially have a pitch for you or something?
Yeah. I mean, it's if you're a designer and you're a half-decent designer and you have like a basic portfolio and you're willing to work with us, like if you live in that community that we don't have, or you want to redesign one of the communities that I design, like we'll work with you. You know, if because we want to work with like people that are just starting out, just like us, all the way up to professionals.
Sure.
I mean, because you add those different levels of flavor and flair and style, it's gonna come out in that shirt, right? Mm-hmm. And like we have some basic parameters that they have to stay within. Like they just got to use all white. They just got to put the city quadrants in there, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and we pay our designers and give them a free shirt, and it's really cool because we post the shirts on the websites. Like it's not Renfrew by Local Laundry, it's Renfrew by Dan Markin,
right?
Or it's Elbow Park by Shannon Larkins. We put their name, we put all their social media, all their website stuff, and we want them to be a part of it, because it doesn't just stop with the designers. We want to get every facet of this business to get the community involved.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily all the focus on your own business. You're promoting these other artists as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's what we've found is the best way to do it. It's collaboration. So whether it's the designers, the photographers, models, bloggers, marketers, charities. We give 10% of our profits back to local charities, and they've been an amazing partner in helping us raise awareness for their cause.
What are this is one of my questions actually. What are some of the charities that you guys do work with?
So the first one we ever donated was to the Calgary Drop-In Center.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I've always been enamored with that place. They just do amazing work, and the people there that are behind it. It's such a great cause. So I reached out and I was like, "What's the lowest funded program you have?" And at the time, we weren't donating a ton of money. Like, we only had $100 to donate, But they're like, "Yeah, we'll do this CLICK program, the Computers for Low-Income Families." We donated that. We got 20 license for Microsoft Windows and stuff. Yeah. But even though we only had $100, like you would have thought we dropped off bags of gold. They're just so thankful to get the smallest donation. Like we got a full tour. We got like VIP treatment. You would have thought I was some rich fat cat dropping bags of money. It was crazy. And then it was just sort of, we work with the Calgary Food Bank. When the Fort Mac fires were crazy. We did a day of all our sales, all profits,
all revenue, all profits,
everything from that day.
Awesome.
And we thought we'd get like 2 or 3 extra sales. It was the busiest day.
Are you kidding?
We sold more on that day than
and
it just goes to show you that that other people want to be in this and they want to be given back to the community as well. So that we donated money to the Red Cross. We did a collaboration with Lululemon for the Calgary Marathon, and we donated to
Kids Up Front.
Okay. And now we have it set up is that when you go buy a shirt, you can actually nominate a charity.
Oh, sweet.
And then so then we look at all those nominations, and then once we reach a certain threshold, we can just disperse that money. The charity with the most nominations gets the money. We're rotating it. We're going to be starting like a charity of the month. And
now, when they're doing these nominations, obviously it's through a store or your website. Which stores carry your guys' apparel right now?
So we have our online store.
Okay.
LocalLaundryApparel.com. And then our hats are in Luke's Drug Mart in Bridgeland.
Okay.
Our clothes are in Meraki Supply Co. in Kensington. And our clothes are also in Stuff for Him on 11th Ave. And they have been amazing supporters. I mean, right from the get-go. It's funny because when Luke's first approached us, Dustin and I were like, do we want to get in retail? Like, Dustin, do you know anything about retail? I don't know anything about retail. So the guy, we had this meeting with him, and he's like, yeah, we love your hats. We want to take them in. And Dustin and I were like, so what do we have to do? Is there a contract? Is there a contract we have to sign? Is there a minimum quantity? He's like, you bring us hats, we give you money. It's as easy as that. Pretty easy. And Luke's Drug Mart is amazing. If you ever get a chance to go in there, they support so many
such a cool
store.
Businesses.
That's great.
They have a whole aisle where it's just all local small businesses. So they're tremendous. And then Meraki and Stuff, they took a huge chance on us, putting us in their store, and they're just amazing people and amazing supporters.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I wanted to ask a couple questions before we wrap it up about just the entrepreneurial process. And one thing I was talking to Dustin downstairs was you guys are actually pretty involved in the Calgary up-and-coming entrepreneurial market, and you put on some events for that. How does that work, and what's that all about, actually?
I love meeting new people that are doing their own thing, like you, Joe.
Yeah.
The amount of people the amount of strangers I've met off the internet because they have a cool idea, and I'm like, hey, this is really cool. Do you want to meet up?
Yeah.
And just being open, just to chat about their idea. I love it, and so I started meeting all these people that are doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you should meet this guy. Oh, I just had coffee. You got to meet him.
Yeah,
Like, you would love him. And so I was just like, why don't I just bring them all together?
Yeah.
So I started this like, it's only like once every month or 2 months. It's just a very informal, I get everyone that I know or they want to bring that has a small business, interested in starting one, want to be involved in one, you know, I've had a successful one, and we all just get together and we all just network and chat and talk about each other's problems. And we usually like to have it at a different venue or a different host that has had a bit of success. So like, we had it at my parents' restaurant at first. My dad said a few words. Then we had Toolshed Brewery, and if you've ever been to Toolshed Brewery, I highly recommend. You got to get Graham on the podcast because
I've heard that he's a fantastic individual.
He's a madman.
Yeah,
he's a madman. But he is like, I've been on the Toolshed Brewery tour 8 times.
Really?
And every time I'm just he's got me eating out of his palm because it's just like he's amazing. They have a wicked story. So we had them and like. Yeah, Graham was like, yeah, so I gotta kind of be home with the dinner for the family. So like an hour and a half, I gotta go. We're like, okay, yeah, no problem. 3.5 hours later, Graham's like still talking mile a minute. And so, you know, the next one's gonna be at a co-op workspace, and we're gonna bring another beer company in, and Goat Locker, we met them yesterday. So it's just like, I don't know, it's this whole thing is all about like, building community and like bringing as many people in and just like, what can you do? What are you good at? What's your passion? Like, how can we fuel that fire? You know, and it's amazing the people that just come out and just want to work with you. You know, like Dustin, he wants to spend his time and you know, he wants to into something into this. It's like, it's amazing. And then we get random people emailing like, hey, I want to help out with marketing. Hey, I want to help out with blogging. It's like, really? Like, yeah, come on in. The water's lovely. Like, it's so cool to see all these people coming together that want to like follow their passions and want to be part of something that's bigger. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build like a t-shirt company that can, you know, a clothing company that can build community by just getting everyone involved, whether it's the customer, the designer, you know, the charities, or whoever, you know.
That's awesome.
It's been such a fun ride too. It's funny, the girl who reached out to us, you know, she just wrote a blog post. I don't know if you read it. It was really good, but she just reached out. She's like, hey, you know, I'm a student in the PR, and I'd love to you know, work with you guys. And she was we found out yesterday she was super nervous and got her friend to check the email to make sure it sounded okay, and we got it and we're like, yeah, great, sounds good, like, let's meet up.
Absolutely.
But I think we're having a hard time coming to terms with the fact that now that we've, you know, got a pretty big Instagram following and we've got some great content that we're posting, you know, we're kind of giving off this perception that we're a big company with a bunch of employees and we're well established, you know, when in reality, I think, you know, one of my favorite lines that Connor uses is, any idiot can start a t-shirt business. And really, you know, we're just 2 guys trying to figure it out, working on this as we can. And so it's funny to hear people come in and say, oh, you know, how many employees do you have? Or, you know, all these questions about these big organizations. We're like, we're just 2 guys who, you know, work part-time on this company. And obviously we're super passionate about it, and that's, you know, truly what kind of shines through and makes it big. But it's been such a fun ride.
That's amazing. Yeah,
it's funny because I say any idiot can start a t-shirt company because this idiot, like that's how easy.
Well, I wouldn't say you're an idiot because you do have quite a great presence on.
But you just got to do it, you know, and then you just follow the steps, and then after that you just figure it out. But my favorite story is that a guy started working at my company and he's wearing one of our sweaters, and I was like, oh my god, like that's amazing, like I don't know you and you bought it, that's so cool. And I was like, well, I'm involved with them, you know, I started it. And he's like no you didn't. No, he's like, nice try. He's like, these guys are huge. He's like, there's no way you'd be working here, these guys are huge. And I was like, okay.
Well, see you later.
But no, it's fun.
So to wrap it up here, I do want to know how the viewers and the listeners can get in contact with you online. Whereabouts are you guys hanging out right now in the social media sphere?
Yeah, Instagram's our jam. We love Instagram. That's how we meet all our new friends. That's how we, you know, get to reach out and talk to local photographers, local designers. And that's really where we've made the most friends is on Instagram. So that's our biggest presence. Of course, we're on Facebook. We don't utilize Facebook as much, and we're on Twitter too. And Twitter's more for sort of conversations. But just with the T-shirts and the photography and the content that we get, we just find Instagram is just such a rich platform. The handles.
Yeah,
so
there, yeah.
Instagram's at Local Laundry.
Okay.
Facebook is just Local Laundry Apparel, and the Twitter is at Local Laundered.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
And then people can always just fire us an email at info@locallaundryapparel.com.
Perfect. Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank both of you so much for coming on today, and I'm sure we'll do this again in the coming months here.
Yeah, absolutely.
we'd
We'd
love
love
to.
to. Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks so much.
Sir. Thank you, sir.